Great, so thank you so much for the really informative introduction. It's really nice to be here chatting to you all. Thank you for coming to listen to this presentation today. Unfortunately, I would much rather be in various places in Norway chatting to you, but I have to chat to you online these days, so hopefully I can get back over soon, sooner rather than later. So really lovely to meet you all. My name's Jay Louise. I'm the Country Development Manager within the International Recruitment Team at the University of Liverpool, and I look after all of our student recruitment from Norway. So usually that would involve, as I mentioned, coming to see you guys and chat to you in person. But now we're always available online. So if you do have any questions, I'm going to share my email with you. You're quite welcome to get in touch after the presentation if you've got any further questions. And this is really informal as well, guys. So don't feel shy to put any questions in the chat. There's myself here, and I've also got a helper as well, who I'm going to introduce to you in just a second. So we'll both do our best to answer questions. And I'm sorry, Sarah, I should have put your picture here. Your picture is later on in the presentation, but since you are here, I'm going to introduce you right now. So you see here, this is Sarah Askavold. She's actually a student ambassador at the university. So she is available to chat with afterwards. She can share her student experience with you, but she's actually going to share a little bit of that today after I finish speaking, to give you a little bit of a different perspective rather than just listening to what I've got to say about the university. And Sarah is obviously from Norway. Are you from Stavanger, Sarah? Yeah, okay, I've got a good memory. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So this is the iconic building of the University of Liverpool. We often get, it looks a bit like Hogwarts. We're probably not quite as old as Hogwarts, but it's a really, really quite traditional campus in some respects, which I'm sure Sarah can tell you a little bit more about later. We've got some fantastic heritage buildings. This is the original university building back when we were established in 1881. And it's actually the original, sorry, just bear with me a second, just trying to move my screen along, there we go. It's actually one of the original buildings of the university. So you can see it here, what it looked like back in 1881. So just to give you a bit more of an idea of that. So we were actually one of the founding members of the Russell Group. Now, if you started doing some research on which university you want to go to, if you want to come to the UK, you may have heard about the term Redbrick University or Russell Group University. Now, what you might have noticed from the university that's on the screen at the moment is that it's built out of red bricks. Now, no, it's not a coincidence. So when we say that we are the original Redbrick University, this building here is actually the reason that the term Redbrick University was coined to talk about Russell Group universities. Okay, so we're just going to pop back a little bit then, just to tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to tell you a few more facts about the university to give you a good idea of its history and heritage, and what we do, what we specialise in, what programmes we've got on offer, because we do have a really wide variety of them. I'm going to talk you through some entry requirements as well, and then we'll go on fees and scholarships, and any other financial information that might be important for you. Then we're going to have a chat about the campus and student life and what you can expect if you from the sort of the other side of campus, if you come and stay with us at Liverpool. We'll also talk about the city of Liverpool, which is a really, really fantastic city to be a student in. I am a Scouser. I'm from Liverpool, so yeah, maybe I am biased. But I truly, truly believe that it's a really great place for students to come and study for many, many reasons that we'll go into later. Then, as I've mentioned, we're going to wrap it up with Sarah's experience, and she's going to share with you a little bit about what it's like to really be a Norwegian student at the University of Liverpool. Okay, so we'll go back again. So getting back to a little bit about us. So you already know that we're in the Russell Group. That means that we are a research-intensive university. So many of our academic staff are actually actively involved in research, in different projects around the world, and have a lot of influence into that. For example, health and life sciences is a really big area for us. And we've already had a lot of academics involved in virology and in immunology, epidemiology, previously involved in Ebola research. But now, of course, with the more recent pandemic that we have found ourselves in, lots of our academics have been on TV appearances here in the UK, speaking about their research, etc. So that when you speak to universities, they often talk about research and about the importance of it, but it's only when something, a really big event, that affects the entire world happens, and we rely on these academics and researchers. It really demonstrates, the importance of academic research. It's a great example of it. So again, on the same topic of research, we are associated with 9 Nobel Prize winners, and we are actually the only UK university with a full clinical education coverage. So that includes biosciences, clinical medicine, health sciences, dentistry, veterinary science, and tropical medicine as well. That really sets us apart from some other universities that may have some of those areas, but we have the full lot of it. So it's a real area of strength for us. We were also the first university to establish departments in architecture, the first RIBA accredited department of architecture as well. Biochemistry, civic design, and oceanography. And oceanography is a great one, a great example. So marine biology too. If you're interested in those areas, then Liverpool is next to the sea. It's next to a river, the estuary that goes straight into the sea. So we're actually a good location for that as well. We are quite a large university if you compare it to the size of our city. So we are a major city in the UK, but we're not as big as London or Birmingham or even Manchester. They're all bigger cities than Liverpool. So the amount of students that we've got, 33,000 overall. We have we're a city of about 500,000 people. So when you compare that, there's a lot of students in Liverpool. We have loads of degree programs to choose from, so over 400 in lots and lots of different areas that I'm going to show you in a second. And we are about 25% international students as well. So we have 8,000 international students on campus. So it's very likely that if you come to Liverpool, you'll get the opportunity to not just mix with UK students, but students from all over the world as well. Another thing that you might want to take part in as well, we have all of these links to different universities around the world. And although we've not actually covered it in this presentation today, there are study abroad options as well. So if you're thinking, yeah, okay, I want to go to the UK, it's not too far away from Norway, but for a little bit, smaller amount of time, maybe you might want to study somewhere else. We have options to be able to go to Australia, New Zealand, the US, Canada, Hong Kong, Singapore, plus many other places, and obviously around Europe as well. We've still got those sort of Erasmus connections, regardless of the B word, as I call it, which we're going to try and mention not too much today. But there's still loads and loads of opportunities for you to get about and study abroad. We're a very global university in that respect as well. So if you do choose to come and study at the University of Liverpool and you graduate, you'll be joining a really big and influential network of alumni all over the world, so 171 different countries, and you can stay in touch via our alumni service as well, Liverpool Life, after you graduate. Okay, so brilliant. So just staying with the theme of employability now. So we're in the, we have a great employability service on campus, so you can go along there, make an appointment or drop in their drop-in sessions, and they have one-to-one appointments available where you can talk about what your options are or whatever it is that you need help with. They have a great team who run different sessions, so they'll invite like guest speakers in, so you can learn about different, learn from industry experts in whatever area you're interested in. They do careers fairs as well, lots of practical ways that they can help you, so CV writing workshops, interview preparation, etc. So the goal is to make our students as employable as possible. That's what we want for when this is a great investment in your future. And when you graduate from the university, then you're going to be able to, get the job of your dreams. So we are one of the top 25 UK universities most targeted by global graduate employers. And many of our graduates are in employment relatively quickly after they get the job. So all good kind of statistics to back up what our team are doing there. And depending on the course that you do, there might be options to do like year in industry programs as well. So within engineering, for example, within management, within many more. So you can check out those courses individually and see what's available. If employability is something really important to you, you can combine it with a placement year. Okay, so moving on to our faculties and departments. So we have three main faculties: health and life sciences. So that includes the clinical sciences I mentioned before, so medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, but also the health sciences, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nursing, etc. And then we also have biological and biomedical sciences too. So any of those sorts of like the biological research that we mentioned earlier, if that interests you, then that's a good area for you. We also have humanities and social sciences. And within this faculty, it's very interesting because you actually get the option to do a lot of joint honours programmes. So you can mix and match across a lot of these areas. If you would like to do English, but you'd also like to do communication and media, you can do that. You can put them together. You can put any of the programs with a language, for example, as well. You could also combine it with a year abroad if you wanted to do that. So there's many different options. Some of the really popular ones within humanities and social sciences: architecture, law, for example. The management school is triple accredited. So it's a really excellent management school. It puts it in the top 5% of management schools in the world. So definitely worth looking into if that's your area that you would like to study, plus many more. And then science and engineering, which is actually the faculty that Sarah is from, who's with us today. So we've got computer science is really popular. We've got all of the engineerings. The only area that we don't do, which I will mention at undergraduate level, is at postgraduate level, we have petroleum, reservoir, geosciences, but we don't have anything like that at undergraduate level. So if you're thinking about going into oil and gas, it's maybe not the university for you. But at postgraduate level, we do have something. And then another one that we don't have is chemical engineering. However, aerospace engineering, mechanical engineering, civil, structural, etc., we've got all the other ones. Okay, brilliant. And then we've also got, of course, geology and geophysics, which is what the area that Sarah is from, and she's going to tell us a little bit about that later on. Okay. So if you've got any questions about any areas, just type them in the chat and we can talk about them a little bit later on. Okay, so entry requirements for Norwegian students. So it would, obviously we do accept the Vitnemål, and it would vary between a GPA of 4.5, and that would be the real high end of the scale. So if you want to do something like medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, architecture, economics, law, we would need a 4.5. And then if we do ask for an A in any areas, which some of them we will do, then we might need a 5 in that specific area. But then you can see as it goes down, sorry, I'll just for context, the lettering system on the side, that's the British A-level system. So if you go onto our website and you maybe take a screenshot or a picture of this or whatever, or even just go onto our Norway country page, you can see this as a guide, and any of the programs that you can see on the website, you'll be able to see what the entry criteria is in the Vitnemål instead. So yeah, a lot of the other programs though that you may be looking at, if it's not the ones I've just mentioned that are really highly positioned and very competitive, if they're a little bit more sort of reasonable in the criteria, you're looking probably between a 4 and a 4.25. And then some of them you could be a 4 as well. So there's a slight difference in the A, B, B, in the 4 and the 4 there, as well, you might be able to see. For any postgraduate students who are interested in coming today, you're with us, then it would be a minimum overall grade, of a B, or a very good in your Norwegian degree. For English language, we can accept the English exam that you do as part of your vitnemål. So it's for undergraduate students, it would be a 3 or above. And for postgraduate students, it's just a 4 or above. Okay, so if you've got that, then we can waiver like an IELTS exam or a Cambridge exam, etc. You wouldn't have to do that. You could just use the English that you've already got in your high school certificate. So yeah, if you are interested in applying, make sure you check out the full entry requirements again on the website. And if there's any doubts, then you can just get in touch and I'll be happy to talk you through them, or your counsellor, so more certainly can do that as well. Okay, so moving on to fees and funding. So one of the things which we're really happy about is that we are on the Lånekassens list of universities that students will be eligible for extended additional funding. So if you do come to the University of Liverpool, you will be entitled to that additional funding from Lånekassen that's above the normal amount that other students would get. And then we also have further information on all of our course fees, which tend to be around sort of £17,000 and upwards per year. So you can see all of that. They do vary by subject, but you can see all of them on the course pages. And then we do have some scholarships that are available as well. And that's all sort of in addition to obviously your funding. So in terms of scholarships for undergraduate level for Norwegian students, we have what's called the Vice Chancellor's International Attainment Award. Again, for undergraduate students, this is, and it's between a £2,000 and £2,500 fee reduction for students who achieve 4.25 or above. If you achieve, I think if you achieve a little bit higher than that, maybe 4.75, then you're entitled to the higher amount, which is the 2,500. So it's sort of on a scale there. So that's in the first year if you're an undergraduate student. If you come to the university for your second and third year, if you maintain a really great grade, so a first class or a 70% or above grade, then you'll be entitled to the first class scholarship as well. And that's an additional £1,000 fee reduction, which you can take off. And then we do have the same, again, for any students who might wish to study a postgraduate or master's programme. If you've got the equivalent in the UK, a first class, which we can work out for you what that would be. I imagine it would be an A, actually, off the top of my head. Then that would be a £2,500 fee reduction in your master's programme as well. Okay. So a little bit more about our location. So we are in northwest England, so right in the centre there of that little island, and very centrally located to explore different places in the UK. We get usually, and hopefully they will come back, we usually get a lot of Norwegian tourists, which is great, who come to the northwest for, I'm sure you can understand why they come to the northwest England. They come into Manchester and choose their pathway. Either they go to Manchester or they come to Liverpool, and that's the way it goes, depending on what team they support. So yeah, we do get usually a lot of Norwegian tourists coming, which is fantastic. It's really easy to get to Liverpool. We've got two airports with easy access. So we've either got Manchester Airport, which is really close. Manchester and Liverpool are really, really close cities. They're only 45 minutes drive away from each other. So you can fly into Manchester Airport, which is the international airport, or you've got Liverpool Airport as well. I'm not too sure with all of the changes to flights and things, what the options are now. Sarah might know better than me, because it's been a while since I've travelled to Norway now, but there's certainly lots and lots of options, either direct options, certainly from Oslo, and there used to be a direct one from Bergen as well, but there's plenty of connections that are available as well. So really, really easy for you guys to get here too. If you want to explore different places as well around the UK, we've got, obviously, Manchester is really close. We've got like the train station that you can see, which is that dome building in the picture on the screen now, is 5 minutes away from campus. That's the main train station in Liverpool. So you can get to Manchester really quickly. London, we have a high-speed rail train. So you can get to London within just over 2 hours, which is like super quick because it actually is quite far away. And then Newcastle is 3 hours, a little bit longer. And then you can also get to Scotland as well, which is just around 3.5, 4 hours away if you want to explore up there. So there's plenty of things to see and do around Liverpool. In terms of accommodation and where you would live when you are living in Liverpool, we've got lots of on-campus accommodation available. So the two buildings that you can see in the pictures now, this is Crown Place and Vine Court. Now, the one at the top is Crown Place. You can see actually in the background the clock tower building, the Victoria building that I showed you at the beginning when I first started talking. So that's how central it is. That's right at the centre of campus. So if you live in this building, you're going to be maybe in 5 minutes walk of every single building on campus. You're right in the middle of it. Not mentioned actually, we're a campus university, but we're in the city centre. And that puts us in quite a unique position because usually in the UK, campus universities tend to be outside of the city in a more rural location. So you might have to get a bus, maybe 20, 30 minutes, maybe more, to get actually into the city centre. And then city universities, they're usually just like one building in lots of different places. So you might have to walk a long way, so you don't have that sort of more of a like together on campus feeling. However, with Liverpool, just because of the kind of geography of the city, you've got the best of both worlds. So the whole campus is about 12 minutes to walk from one side to the other. There's lots of accommodation on it. And then if you walk 5 minutes off campus, you get to the main train station rather. And then 10 minutes, you're right in the middle of the city centre itself with all of the different attractions, etc. So yeah, you're definitely going to get, if you want sort of a, not like a really, really busy city, but still kind of a nice cosmopolitan city experience, then definitely Liverpool is a good option for you. So back to the accommodation, both of these options are private bedroom, private ensuite bathroom with a kitchen and living area shared with other students. And then we do have studios available as well. So if you wanted to pay a little bit extra, that would be a bit more privacy for you. And then you would have your own kitchen as well in the studio. As well as this on-campus accommodation, we do have some off-campus accommodation as well. So in a really lovely area, next to a park called Sefton Park, which is very, very green. It's only about 10, 15 minutes away from the campus, and we have a dedicated bus service. There is another student accommodation called Greenbank Village, and that's all been recently renovated, and that gives you another option. If you don't mind not being set right in the centre of campus, you don't mind taking the bus, then that's something else. And it's still quite a sort of fun student area to be in as well, with a nice park and lots of like shops, bars and restaurants as well. So yeah, lots of different locations, something to suit everyone regardless of your budget. And if you are thinking of doing private accommodation rather than university accommodation, because Liverpool rather is such a big student city, there's never any shortage of student accommodation. So you will find something to suit you, definitely. The university itself, if you do want to apply to the university ran halls, then we can guarantee accommodation as long as you apply by the deadlines that are on the screen at the moment. Okay, so just moving on to some facilities that are available. So we've got two 24-hour libraries. So I actually studied at the University of Liverpool myself, and I can tell you firsthand that's really handy when there's that assignment that you've left to the last minute and you need to get it prepared and you have to pull an all-nighter. Don't do what I did, although I'm sure everyone's been there. But it's really, really good. And there's two of them, and they specialise in whatever area is yours. So one is more science-based, the other one is more humanities-based. So you've got all the books in there that would be for you, but they're both really good. We've also got the career service, which I mentioned to you a little bit before, so I won't dwell on that again. It's actually award-winning because their approach is quite innovative in the sector. So it's a little bit different than how other universities have done it in the past. So they won an award for that when they first made that innovation. The facilities on campus are excellent. So a lot of the pictures you might have seen, it looks very traditional. You know, we mentioned Hogwarts before, but the university is constantly investing in the campus and making sure that although it appears traditional, it's actually got all of the modern facilities and features that you might have on a more modern campus as well. So we've recently got like new lecture halls and spaces that were a little bit more informal that you will use as part of your studies. Obviously it depends on what your area is. So a couple of examples that are sort of a bit more niche. If you are interested in like the health sciences and you have like anatomy as part of your course, or biology or physiology, quite often, you know, they will need you to get the fundamentals of anatomy to be able to do that course. So we actually have anatomy centre, which is like pioneering in the northwest of England in the University of Liverpool. So yeah, it is what it sounds, you know, it's an anatomy centre. So the students as part of their course will actually go along there, they can do practicals should they wish to, but obviously if you're interested in that, that's a really unique experience to be able to take part in. Equally, you know, if that's not your thing and you're more interested in humanities, we actually have like an Egyptology course, for example, and lots of quite a few museums and galleries. One of them, which is on campus, one of them is called the Garstein Museum. It's an archaeology museum, and we've actually got an actual Egyptian mummy in there, and you can go along and like see it on the campus. So there's these variety of sort of different facilities. Some of them more general, some of them more specific to your area. Another area that we particularly pride ourselves on at Liverpool is student support. So Liverpool as a place, and we'll talk about this in a little while as well, people are really friendly. So we hope that you will feel really welcomed by the staff, and we want you to feel settled, especially as international students, making Liverpool your home. So we have some really robust student support services in place so that you feel any problem that you've got, you know, you've got someone to go to. So we have academic, so you will have a academic tutor for your module, so they're an expert in their area. So if you've got any questions about your actual work, you can go along there. You'll be assigned a personal tutor as well though, and that's someone from your school, but you will have that person for the 3 or 4 or 5 years, however long your course is. You will have that person, and if you've got any problems, you can go along to them and, you know, feel comfortable there. There's lots of other teams that you can go to though. So within your school, you'll have the student experience team. So they'll be like your first point of contact if you've got any problems like regarding your course. But also we've got central pastoral teams who look after students, whatever other problems they've got. So we've got the international advice and guidance team, and they can help with anything from you've got questions about visas, or you're feeling homesick, for example. They are, you know, they specialise in, they're dedicated for our international students. But they also are wellbeing teams that deal with many other things. So disabilities, if you have any worries about money, for example, mental health support. So we have counselling available for students, and we also have a GP on campus as well, which we encourage all students to sign up for. So if you ever do have any problems, you've got everything that you need there on campus. Okay, so moving on to the more sort of extracurricular side of the university, we have a sports centre on campus, which is really good, right in the centre. It's got an Olympic-sized swimming pool, 2 sports halls, where they play like various different sports in there, and they do like classes, fitness classes, aerobics, etc. They have a fully kitted out gym as well, which is really good. It's quite large as well. A bouldering wall too. Yeah, lots of other things. And then they've got the sports fields as well, which are just slightly further out from the campus, but they're in like a greener area where there's a lot more space for you to play different sports. So yeah, regardless of what you're into, there'll be something for you there. And they have like hobby sports, so you play like non-competitively, and then you can also play competitively if you want to as well. And they have tournaments against like other universities in the UK. So if you're not a sporty person, then there's still lots of clubs and societies that you can get involved with. So we've got the Guild of Students, which is our very complicated term actually for the student union, which is what it is, a very traditional sort of term. So they've got loads of clubs and societies there. Yeah, they've got sports, but they've also got like musical societies, drama, academic societies, cultural societies, societies for different countries, etc. And then just like, you know, various sort of hobbies type things. Some of them are a little bit silly, but good fun, you know. So lots of different things that you can get involved with as well. And that's right in the centre of campus. Oh yeah, I've got another slide on it, didn't even realise. So yeah, this is actually the centre of the Guild of Students. This is the courtyard area, and they also have a hall in there, which is called the Mountford Hall, and they do like lots of music gigs. The Welcome Fair is in there as well. So there's loads of different things that you can get involved with. It's kind of the epicenter of the extracurricular side of uni, but it's still really important to get involved with and make the most of your time at university. Okay, so coming to the bit about the Liverpool itself. So Liverpool is a really fab city for international students, I believe, because it's not like too big, but you've got everything that you will need. It's quite self-contained, so you can actually walk everywhere on that screen now, on that map. You could walk there from one side to the other side in about half an hour. So you don't really need to take public transport, but if you're going further afield or you want to, then you can get public transport, trains, buses, Ubers, taxis, etc. So you can get around. We also have like scooters now as well, which they're good fun. I think I remember seeing them in Oslo as well. I think you've got some of them, but yeah, a little bit dangerous. You have to make sure that you're in control of them, I found. But yeah, loads of ways that you can get around the city, but you can just walk as well. So you can see the university campus is quite big. It takes up quite a big area of the city itself. And around this area that you can see there with the circle is called the Knowledge Quarter. So we were actually home to 6 universities in Liverpool, in the wider Liverpool city region. So when I said before that we're a student-friendly city and we've got loads of students, we really have. You can really tell a difference, like during the summer, you can, it feels a lot quieter because there's less students there. So everything is really geared towards students. A lot of the businesses, local businesses will have like discounts for students, student events, etc. So it's really fun in that respect. Some of the things you've got going on there in the city, we've actually got 2 cathedrals, which we're very famous for. And Liverpool is one of the biggest sort of tourist destinations in terms of like UK cities and people coming to visit it, not just internationally, but also within the UK as well. We've also got the oldest Chinatown in Europe and the biggest Chinese arch outside of China as well. So loads of really international foods, different things to try as well. Bold Street is really famous for lots of international restaurants and like independent shops as well. So that's a really cool place to explore. And then you've got the area around the river that you can see there. That's kind of like the old heritage buildings. So back in like the 1800s, Liverpool was a really famous port city. And it was sort of the centre of where the trade came when it was coming from like the east, from Asia and coming across the Americas. Liverpool was where they kind of stopped and refueled, etc. And lots of trade was brought around from Liverpool. So one of the big areas of this place was the area that you can see around the river there. And I've got some photos that I'll share with you in a second. So the Liver building is one of these old heritage buildings. So if you're into history or architecture, Liverpool's really great for that. And also the Royal Albert Dock. Now, this used to be like the docks where all of the trade was kept like a long time ago. Now it's like really nice shops and bars and restaurants, and it's a really beautiful place to walk around on a nice day. And then we also have, obviously we're right next to the river there, where you've got the Mersey ferry. You can take a ferry across the river, which is a nice thing to do also on a nice day. And all of this area where we have these dock systems for miles and miles and miles, you can walk the whole way along the river. So it's a really nice place to go for a run as well, and just very, very pretty. And then there's lots of other places. I know that Sarah's going to talk about like Sefton Park and stuff as well, which I think is one of her favourite places. I think you've included that, haven't you? So we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, so just to sort of sum it up, Liverpool is really known as an arts, music and cultural capital, and of course a capital of sport really as well. I can't do a presentation about Liverpool and not talk about the sport aspect. So Anfield and Goodison Park are about 20 minutes away from the campus, as I do always get that question. So not too far away at all, but there's loads more to Liverpool than just those sort of aspects as well. And there's fabulous shopping, which I didn't talk about before. Actually, Liverpool One is a shopping centre, a big open air shopping centre. So you can find everything that you might possibly want from there as well. And dining out and nightlife as well. Liverpool's won lots of awards in sort of nightlife, like best nightlife in the UK, etc. So it's certainly got a lot to offer if that's the type of thing you're into, but it's also got far more than that. If you're into sort of different activities. So for example, very cultural, more museums and galleries than any UK city outside of London. So yeah, lots to offer. In 2018, we won the City Life category for the Student Choice Awards. More recently, we've won Best Place in Britain to be a Graduate. Now that was based on cost of living and also graduate job prospects. So cost of living is a little bit lower in Liverpool than it is in other places, similar size cities in the UK. So if you are thinking about how far you can make your budget stretch as a student, Liverpool is really good for that as well, but still have like a good quality of life. It's also was voted the kindest and friendliest UK city quite recently as well in lots of different surveys. So the Rough Guide's 4th friendliest city in the world, and I think the only UK city that was above it was Glasgow as well, also very, very friendly. So yeah, the local people have always, are always going to be quite welcoming to help you, etc. And I know that Sarah's got a story about that, so I'll leave that for her. And we were also just last year voted safest city in the UK as well, which is always reassuring when you're thinking about moving somewhere new, that it's quite safe. Okay, so great. Now I'm going to introduce again Sarah, and she's going to talk us through a bit about her experience as a student in Liverpool.
Hei. Jeg tenkte jeg skulle snakke på norsk, for det veldig greiest. Så på bildet der så står jeg foran den der bygningen, som på en måte den eldste bygningen som har blitt snakket om tidligere. Det som så kult med den der, det at på utsiden så ser den liksom en gammel bygning og veldig fin og klassisk, men inni så den supermoderne, og de har en flysimulator og sånne racerbiler som studenter har bygd og konkurrert med. Så det ganske gøy. Ja. Jeg skal akkurat begynne på 3. året på en grad i geofysikk. Så ja, jeg tror jeg bare skal begynne meg, altså, for å se hvordan det går dette. You can just change the slide. Så denne bygningen da, er geologibygningen, og det er en av de på en måte bygningene som ikke har blitt så veldig oppusset. Så det er altså en gammel forelesningssal som er sånn rund med veldig små pulter og sånt, men der går vi stort sett bare for seminarer som er litt sånn utenom studier og litt sånn hyggelige sammenkomster og sånne ting. Men så bruker vi de mer moderne fasilitetene for å ha forelesninger. Så dette er på en måte hvordan dagen min var før covid. Det har jo vært litt annerledes det siste halvannet året, men det tenker vi ikke så mye på. Det er vel ferdig snart. Så jeg har en del timer med forelesninger i løpet av en uke. Noen studier har mer enn andre, som jeg har labber og ting og sånt i tillegg til vanlige forelesninger. Og så har de sånne regler, det ikke for mange som går etter hverandre, så det fint, og der pauser og ting i mellomtiden som veldig greit. Og utenom studien så det forskjellige seminarer som du kan være med på, og bli kjent med fagfolk rundt omkring fra andre universiteter, og hva de på ditt universitet jobber med da. Så det noen som som enkelt forelesninger, mens andre så har de en dag der de på en måte masse forskjellige, der de møtes og har skikkelig forskjellige temaer da, som det har gått gjennom, og det veldig hyggelig. Og jeg pleier å gjøre en del aktiviteter utenom. Så jeg med i 10 forskjellige foreninger eller noe sånt, for jeg tenker det bedre å være med på mange ting enn få. Og så kan jeg velge litt hva jeg foretrekker hver uke da. Så jeg driver med bueskyting, som veldig gøy. Det fant jeg ut når jeg kom hit. Og de har biljard, som sånn, jeg ikke en sportsfan, men det var en sportsklubb for meg også. Noen av de foreningene jeg med i på en måte Harry Potter-forening der, og Disney-forening, og role-playing games-foreninger, og litt sånn forskjellige ting. Så der full liste på University of Liverpool Student Guild på nettsiden der. For jeg begynte å gikk gjennom alle sammen, bare sånn, hvilke vil jeg prøve ut? Så det var ganske gøy. Og de bryr seg veldig mye om studentene her, så der for eksempel noe som heter Student Welfare Advice and Guidance, som du bare kan droppe inn hvis du på en måte trenger å snakke med noen. Så kan de gi deg snakke med en psykolog på dagen hvis du har behov for det. Men ellers det vel J-Louis til å snakke mest om det foreløpig. You can change the slide again. Så på studiet mitt så det ikke bare forelesninger, det jo andre ting. Det skulle ha vært feltturer, da vi hadde reist rundt omkring i Storbritannia og sett forskjellige steder med steiner og andre interessante landskaper og sånt. Jeg har jo hatt de digitalt, så det har vært litt spesielt, men det veldig gøy ting å ha med, for da reiser du rundt og får en litt annen opplevelse enn hvordan det ville vært til vanlig. Og det veldig, som har blitt nevnt tidligere, så det veldig greit å reise fra Liverpool og rundt i resten av Storbritannia. Så jeg var på en sportstur til Huddersfield, der jeg konkurrerte med bueskyting med studenter fra mange forskjellige andre universiteter, som var ganske gøy. Og så det også bare sånn, kan dra på en dagstur rundt omkring. Jeg tok en liten tur til Chester her om dagen, bare en halvtimes tid med tog. Fikk en helt annen by som ser helt annerledes ut enn Liverpool. Men her i Liverpool så det jo masse forskjellige å gjøre. Jeg liker best å gå ned på Albert Dock, for jeg bor nede i sentrum, så det veldig kort vei til å gå der. Da kan jeg på en måte lukte på fjorden, eller elven, som lukter litt sånn som hjemme i Stavanger, med sjølukt, og se på bare alt livet som foregår. Der sånn pariserhjul og museer, og så det alltid noe som foregår. Sånn her om dagen når jeg var nede og gikk en tur, så jeg noen som var filmet til en krim-tv-serie. Der har de også filmet den nye Batman-filmen her, Dr. Who, og den serien som gikk på Netflix heter Regulars, filmet stort sett her. Captain America, The First Avenger, for eksempel. Det veldig gøy å gå rundt og se steder som du har sett på filmer rundt her i byen. For veldig mange av bygningene her sånn gammeldagse, så hvis vi skal filme London på 1800-tallet og sånt, så går de her, for her det fortsatt en klassisk utseende på en britisk by, som ganske gøy. Og Sefton Park, det sånn svær park med masse forskjellige små landskaper og sånt som du kan gå rundt, og her det litt blomster, og en liten elv, og en liten dam, og masse forskjellige ting som ganske greit å komme ut fra liksom, det travle med byen. Det også en sånn svært glassbygg der de har konserter, og der forskjellige planter og fugler, tror jeg, inni der. Så det ganske mye gøy der. Ellers plenty med shopping og kaffe. Jeg går veldig mye på kaféer. tror jeg har vel 10-15 jeg går innom forskjellige ganger på sånne uavhengige kaféer. Og da pleier det å være masse konserter, og symfoniorkesteret her veldig bra, og jeg har kommet med studentrabatter og sånne ting, som veldig hyggelig. Og ja, så nå når jeg har dratt til England i siste perioden, så har jeg måttet dratt til London, for det har vært litt begrenset med fly på grunn av covid. Men da har jeg tatt toget hit med det høyhastighetstoget, det er veldig komfortabelt. Men vanligvis, før pleide det å gå et direkte fly fra Bergen til Liverpool, som vi tok en gang. Det var veldig greit. Så jeg håper de kommer sette det opp igjen når folk begynner å reise på fotball mer. Det var på en måte sånn fotballflygning. Men det var billig for studenter hvis du reiser motsatt vei enn fotballfansen. Så hvis du reiser til Norge på fredagen eller til England på søndagen, så får jeg ganske greie billetter der. Ellers er det jo alltid masse forskjellige muligheter å komme seg frem og tilbake. Med rabatter for studenter, som det er masse av. Freshers Week, da er på en måte, de har 1 til 2 uker med fadderuke, der det er masse sånne forskjellige stands og sånt, der det er gratis mat og rabatter og aktiviteter, og der de ulike foreningene får presentere seg selv. Det var også andre aktiviteter, som konserter og quizzer og turer rundt omkring, så det var veldig gøy. Og de fleste sportsklubber har på en måte et par uker i begynnelsen av året der du kan komme og møte opp uten å måtte betale for noe. Bare prøve litt frem og se om det er noe du kan være interessert i å være med på videre. Så det gjorde jeg jo, jeg gikk på så mange forskjellige. De har jo fekting, det var ganske gøy, men ikke helt for meg. Det var litt tungt. Men masse forskjellige sånne greier som du kan gå på. Og ellers er folk her sykt vennlige. Altså, jeg ble møtt med et smil uansett hvor jeg går egentlig, og alle kaller jeg for love eller sånne ting. Og det er veldig mange historier da, på en måte. Jeg kom til togstasjonen her med 3 svære kofferter om dagen, og så var øyeblikket jeg kom av toget, så var det noen som tilbudte seg å hjelpe meg å trelle litt til taxien, som jeg ikke kjente i det hele tatt. Det var bare sånn, jeg trenger hjelp. Så det er veldig hyggelig. Så folk vil alltid tilby å følge deg hjem hvis du har vært ute en kveld og sånne ting. Som jeg på en måte, jeg har ikke opplevd det i Norge, men jeg synes det er veldig hyggelig her. You could change the slide again. Når jeg først kom hit, så bodde jeg i et studieapartment på Crown Place, et sånt der du kan være alene. Og da hadde jeg på en måte ganske god plass med bad og alt det her inne på rommet. Og du ser mange bildene der da. Så der hadde jeg kokeplater og mikroovn og kjøleskap, alt det du trenger egentlig. Og da bodde jeg 2 minutter fra der jeg hadde flesteparten av forelesningene mine, så jeg kunne sove veldig lenge om morgenen. Og så var det var sånn vaskerom som du kunne gå ned til i resepsjonen, der det var PlayStation og biljardbord og sånne ting som du kunne henge og bli kjent med de andre som bor i bygningen. Så det er litt sosialt, selv om det kan være greit å ikke dele kjøkken med folk hvis du ikke har lyst til det. Og da hadde de jo ulike andre sosiale eventer med grilling og av og til gratis frokost og litt sånne ting. Og så er det veldig greit å bo i studentbolig når du først kommer hit, for det er trygt, du vet hva du går til, og det er ganske greit på en måte å finne ut av. Det er mange forskjellige varianter da. Crown Place er vel den største der. Jeg tror 1200 studenter som bor der. Så det er ganske svært. Det er liksom 7 forskjellige bygninger eller noe sånt. Så det er det som på en måte, når du går på campus, er det som tårner overalt. Så jeg bodde i 7. etasje. Så, men det var ganske greit. You could change the slide again. Så noen råd fra meg da. Dra til utlandet. Hvis du er litt i tvil, bare dra. Det er veldig verdt det. Jeg har jo studert i Canada før. Det var jo veldig gøy. Så det er skikkelig god erfaring å få. Altså, du blir selvstendig på en helt annen måte enn hvis du bor i Norge. Og du blir kjent med andre kulturer. sånn tar meg ting videre, og det veldig gøy. Og så ANSA har en ganske stor tilstedeværelse her i Liverpool. Det en lokalforening med vel kanskje 10-12 personer som møter på møtene. Så det greit å vite, det greit å ha de der, liksom. Jeg jo ikke her for å henge med nordmenn, men det veldig trygt å vite at det andre nordmenn her, hvis du vil feire 17. mai med andre nordmenn, eller sånne ting. Så nå i år så var 17. mai den dagen når bare kaféer åpnet igjen etter lockdown. Så da gikk vi på et bord og spiste middag sammen. Så det var veldig hyggelig. Det var også Hotell Tia som drevet av nordmenn, som på Anfield. Det mest en fotballklubb, men det liksom et stort miljø der også. Og av og til så har de hatt ting sammen med ANSA om 17. mai og sånn. Det har ikke jeg vært med på for covid. men ifølge faren min så det veldig god stemning der. Og så bli med på foreninger av alle slag. Altså, bare prøv å gjøre hva som helst. Altså, hvis du litt interessert, bare prøv. Det veldig gøy. Og i tillegg så Liverpool et av de få universitetene i Storbritannia som har et ganske god aktivitet på håndballaget. Så det et ganske stort håndballag. Jeg tror de har reservelag, og det mange som spiller håndball, både gutter og jenter. Så det ikke så mange av de rundt omkring ellers, men det mange her. Og si ja til ting. Hvis folk spør deg om du vil være med på noe, bare si ja. Det den beste måten å få venner. Så etter bueskyting så har vi alltid pleid å gå på pub og litt kjent med hverandre, og det har vært veldig hyggelig. Så jeg har møtt egentlig alle vennene mine jeg har nå har jeg møtt via bueskyting, enten direkte eller indirekte. Så bare si ja til å bli med på ting, så går det seg til. I think that's all, but see if there's another slide. I don't really remember.
That's everything. Tusen takk, Sarah. That was fantastic. Thank you very much. I was trying my best to understand the very little I could. So thank you. That's brilliant. So great that you can just share some like different insights with the students here today. So if you want to chat after this to Sarah a little bit more, obviously we're going to take questions at the end, but we do have a service as well on our website called UniBuddy, which Sarah is on, so you can always send her a message and chat a little bit more about anything that she has mentioned, if you want any clarification. But we also have a lot of other students on there as well. So say for example, like Sarah's are the Norwegian student that's on there, but we also have students from different countries who are studying different subject areas as well. So if you are particularly interested in a specific course, then you can chat to a student from that course area as well, from that subject area. So yeah, I'll leave the link in the chat as well, so you can always open that and have a chat with them, or if you want to do it some other time, you can as well. It's such a lovely picture of Sarah and some of the other ambassadors when we were on campus. That was before the pandemic, but yeah, good memories that was, wasn't it, Sarah? Yeah, and we also have a blog as part of UniBuddy as well. So if you go onto the UniBuddy page, you can actually read about some of the blogs that our students have done, and some of them have done some vlogs. So for example, we've got one about like an American student, Madison, has done with her favourite coffee shops and study spots as well around Liverpool. So not just on campus, but in different places as well. So yeah, we're adding to that all the time. So make sure you check back. Yeah, okay, so yeah, just some of our little memories from some of the international students, places they've been. This is all around Liverpool as well, so there's plenty of places to explore, and I hope that, you know, from attending today, you've seen that. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the presentation, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and then we can have a chat. If you want to type, then you can. If you want to unmute your mic and camera, put your camera on, please feel free to. That would be lovely to have a chat with you as well. So yeah, whatever you feel comfortable with, but really informal, guys. Don't feel shy. Ask any questions that you've got. Okay.
So we have received a few questions. So the first one is there English literature at University of Liverpool?
Yeah, and I studied it actually.
Cool.
I'm a graduate of English literature at Liverpool. So you would need to be studying literature and studying English as well in Vietnam. So there might be some subject-specific requirements, but we can have a look at them and advise you of them. But yeah, it's a really good course. The course itself, it gives you in the first year, it gives you like a really good breadth of like different, they have like the first module is called literature and time. So it takes you like right the way back from Homer's The Odyssey is like the first book that you do. You also study Genesis and the Bible as well. And then right the way up to the present day. So it's really good. And then after you've done that, then you can pick, you get loads of freedom with your modules. So you can pick whatever it is that interests you. And that's the same in lots of the humanities subjects that I spoke about before. There's lots of flexibility. Usually in the first year, you might have some set modules or a little bit of choice. But from the second year onwards, you get, you can pick, loads of whatever it is you're interested in. You get a lot of flexibility there. So very, very good. Yeah. Great choice.
I think this question is for Sarah. And why did you end up choosing Liverpool?
So that was I was struggling quite a bit actually. Like I got into all the 5 universities I applied for, and then I was like, I don't really know what to do. I was hoping I wouldn't get into some of them to make my choice easier. So I went on like university open days in many of the places. One of them was Liverpool. And when I got here, it was like there were so many friendly people, and they were all really interested in talking with me, and I just felt really welcomed when I got here. So I think my final 2 universities was Liverpool and Birmingham, and like mostly they were quite equal with regards to the degree and pretty much everything. So I was like, okay, it was really just writing down the pros and cons of everything. But in the end, I chose Liverpool because, well, of the way I've been welcomed and the fact that it was a small city, so it's easy to go around and get to know it. And also, it's not like really far away. I was looking at something that was really all the way down in Cornwall, and it required like a 9-hour train off the airport, and that was a bit much.
Yeah. It's a beautiful part of the UK, but it's very difficult to travel to.
Yeah.
It's another question for Sarah. How do you survive on a Lånekassen budget?
Oh, it's actually quite brilliant. So I studied in Oslo before I got here, which was tough. I had the student accommodation there and everything, but I had about 1,000 kroner to live off every month. So I had to have a job on the side to be able to actually work it out. But here I haven't had any problems. Like generally, after you've paid all the tuition fees and stuff, you'll still have more money to live off than the money you'd get from Lånekassen when you study in Norway. And the costs of living here are much lower. So you can get better apartments or cheaper, and the food is really cheap compared with Norway. So it's I feel like I live like a rich person. Even though
Going to all your cafes.
I can vouch for that from my trips to Norway as well. It's at least half in terms of like cost of eating out, etc. Yeah.
It's so cheap, compared to Oslo at least.
Definitely. Yeah, no, I spend about 30-40 pounds a week on food, which is well, I buy the most expensive brands and stuff and beef and whatnot, and I still it's just I've got enough money to do fun things like movies and going places and stuff. So yeah, no, it's definitely much more economic to live here, and the only cost is plenty.
Do you know anything about field trips in the other departments? So I'm assuming that she's referring to Sarah's, how she went on her field trips, but English. And could you tell me a little bit more about different field trips? And I don't know, it might be hard considering that there's a lot of different courses to choose from, but
So I think because of the nature of Sarah's degree, like she has to have field trips as part of it because they need to get out and examine rocks and stuff. Sarah, am I right? Is that what it's all about?
Like
Yeah.
to measure stuff and see different landscapes and stuff. It's a part of the degree.
Part of it, yeah. So if you were doing a course that's quite similar to that, for example, geography or marine biology or something that's kind of the same, you know, you have to do a field trip, then yeah, you will definitely have field trips built in as part of your program. If it's something else, then you know there might be things that are more appropriate to that area, for example. So politics, you can apply to do it's kind of a field trip, but it's more of like an internship. You can actually apply, it's quite prestigious. You can apply to do like an internship, like shadowing experience in their like Houses of Parliament in London. So there's like an example of one, but there's many other different things, you know, that you can, more like extracurricular but related to the subject that you can take part in. So maybe not called like field trips, but still kind of like that as well. For example, we have an MBA in football industries. It's really cool. It's like a really famous program in that kind of sector. Many industry professionals have done it. So you have to have like 3 years of work experience to be able to be eligible for the MBA, as well as like a degree too. But they specialize in the business side of football. And as part of that, one of their main field trips is to go to UEFA in Switzerland, as you know, as part of the program. So another, you know, cool. And then they do a lot of field trips to like football clubs as well, to the FA, etc. So yeah, I think it all depends just on the program that you do, but they all try and make their programs like as interesting as possible. So if there's something that they can do like that, then yeah.
Do you have history? If so, can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, so we have a history program. I will send you the link in the chat in a second as well, so you can have a read about it. But it's really like, yeah, but again, like I was telling you about English before, it's also a humanities subject. So they all work very, very similar. So in the first year, you might have like some aspects of history that, you know, are really well studied. So you have those sort of fundamentals. But after that, in your second and third year, you'll get the flexibility you won't really have any core modules, whatever it is that you're really interested in, you can do that. And the areas are a little bit different as well then, you know, you're getting in more very niche areas. So yeah, in terms of entry criteria, it's quite high. It will be up there with like 4.5 in GPA in Vietnam. But yeah, I can send you the link for it. And then if you've got any questions, then you can just get in touch about it. I think we might have a student studying history as well on UniBuddy. So I'll put the link in the chat to that as well. Because you can always, the students know better than me, you know, like just so happens that someone was interested in English literature, which is what I studied. But yeah, so, you know, someone like Sarah is going to be able to talk to you a little bit better about the course because they've actually like studied it as well. So I'll put that in the chat too.
Do you have programs that start in January?
Not for undergraduate. Okay, so it depends if it's undergraduate bachelor's degree or master's degree. We have a couple of programs this year that are starting master's degree in January, but that's only because of like the knock-on effect of the pandemic, as we had some January start dates last year. Normally, just September for both bachelor's and master's. Yeah.
Cool. Is it possible to combine history and English literature?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, that's exactly the sort of example of the joint honours, the honours select system, they call it. So yeah, definitely those two could be combined.
I think that's all the questions.
Brilliant.
There was also something called, I think it's the Open University. So even though you do like, even though you do like a degree like I do it for science, you can still take a language on the side.
Yeah, it's called Open Languages. Yeah, it's a really good point. Sorry, the Open University is actually like an online university in the UK. So not to be confused with the Open University. It's a slightly different thing.
Like open languages.
Yeah, open languages. So yeah, all students can do like a module. So regardless of what area you're actually studying, you can take a language. So we have loads to choose from. Like we do loads of languages anyway, if you wanted to do it as part of your program. But I think the open languages ones are like Mandarin. I think you do Russian, Italian, German, Spanish, French. What one are you doing, Sarah?
Well, I didn't actually end up doing any because of COVID. I was planning on doing it, but I felt like I didn't really want to add to the stress of online university.
No, that's understandable.
I really wanted to do German.
Yeah,
so I wanted to learn that.
Yeah, well, next year maybe.
Yeah.
So what is your study situation like right now, Sarah? Are you having mostly online classes, or are they mostly physical, or?
So uni starts in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So last year I had 3 times when I showed up on campus because we had 3 labs before Christmas, which was like meet up, have your own table and look at some rocks through a microscope. But this year they're planning on doing a lot of like on-campus meetings. So I can actually get to meet my other fellow students and stuff. So that's going to be nice. I think I'm going to have 4 days a week where we've got things happening on campus, which I guess they will do like bigger classes, like the ones with hundreds and 200s of people would be online still, but most of my classes are like between 10 and 30 students, so they can safely put them in like a lecture hall. But,
Things are looking up.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah, exactly. So the university sort of policy across the board, obviously we hope that by the time you guys, if you choose to apply and come to Liverpool, that things will be back to some old version of normal that we were all used to, with face-to-face all the time. And that's what the university is totally dedicated to, getting things back to face-to-face 100%, as soon as possible. But obviously we have to and we want to make sure that everyone is safe and comfortable in the meantime as well. So the policy at the moment is a hybrid approach. So it's like a blended learning approach where, as Sarah said, any of like the bigger lectures where you might usually have like 70, 100, 200 people, if it's a really big course. Sarah's course is a little bit smaller, so she gets more face-to-face time, for example. But if you have big lectures like that, obviously no one wants to do that, because it's just too much of a risk, isn't it? You know, it's far better for everyone if that is done online. So we'll still have those lectures for the moment online, but all of the smaller ones. So often students, humanities, for example, you'll have lectures, seminars and tutorials. Seminars and tutorials would be, like Sarah mentioned, 30 or less students. Tutorials is even less. So definitely those ones will be the ones where you get the face-to-face. But for the moment, we've only sort of announced that until the end of semester 1 of this year. So that means as soon as we can in semester 2, we'll be back face-to-face in person, which is what, you know, everyone wants. But for now, we're just gonna, play it safe and make sure that everyone is safe and comfortable with the online. Yeah. Any more questions, guys? That wrap us up.
I don't think so.
I'm going to put my email in the chat as well. So if you want to drop me an email, anyone, be happy to hear from you. And I have put a link to UniBuddy as well. So if you want to drop Sarah a message after this, or sometime in the future when you're thinking about your options, or look at any of the other ambassador profiles on there and read about what the other students are up to, then you can do as well.
Perfect. And like, sorry.
Actually, I do have a question for you, J-Louise.
Okay.
For the scholarships, are they like you have to apply for them, or are they going automatically for the vice chancellors and the thing?
They're done automatically.
Cool.
Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions about that, just let me know. Cool.
And like I mentioned, you all have your own student counselor, hopefully. So you can reach out to any of the Sonar team if you have any questions, or to J. Louise, or perhaps Sarah if you want to hear more about her experience. But it was great to meet the both of you, and I hope that you all have a great night, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you again, everyone. Tusen takk, my favorite word, Norwegian. One of my only words. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight and giving up your time. It's really nice to meet you all. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.